So it looks like there are layoffs happening right now at Penske Media Group. This is, the entity that controls so many of our favorite high school newspapers, otherwise known as the trade magazines. And this highlights some very common troubles that's happening in digital media right now. All major media groups are suffering and dealing with the fact that they've overextended and they've over-consolidated, and it's created some real problems. Now, with a little bit of insider information and some industry analysis, we're set to explore the reasons behind these layoffs and the potential impact on pretty much all of the entertainment trades, because it's going to be extensive. Here we go. So the script for the Hollywood Reporter, as far as its rewrites are concerned, is being heavily modified. It's indicating a different direction that all the trades are going to have to head in. Contraction. That's right, they all have to get smaller. But don't worry, here at Culture Casino, we're doing just fine thanks to, well, all of you and, of course, my editor, Grant.
Wait, who is that guy?
Thanks, Grant.
I do it for the culture.
Anyway, of course, it's a tough time for Hollywood Reporter specifically. They're the first ones where these layoffs have been announced. It started to hit that publication, well, just a couple of days ago. At least one of their digital media writers, J. Clara Chan, has been let go, with additional layoffs expected in, well, the next few weeks. Now, insiders say it's not a bloodbath like BuzzFeed or Vice or even, a big entertainment company like Disney. This downsizing could just signal further staff reductions in the near future, well, across all of Penske Media. Penske Media Corporation, of course, PMC, is the parent company of Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, Variety, and many more magazines. Reports suggest that both THR and Deadline specifically are, well, not hitting the marks. They've fallen substantially short of their revenue requirements and goals over the course of the last few quarters. And that's not surprising when you take a look at the fact that ad tech itself has been taking a hit over the course of the last year. Interestingly enough, PMC insiders have actually revealed that THR, the Hollywood Reporter, missed their Q1 2023 numbers by a significant margin. Well, if you dive into that significant is actually 75%. And when you look at the way Deadline is struggling, based on their 20 revenue goals, they missed by nearly 70%. So these are substantial misses, and these financial setbacks have really necessitated these cost-cutting maneuvers, and it's basically led to a hiring freeze across PMC publications. I can imagine they're not filling jobs that are being left, and I imagine there are going to be a whole lot fewer jobs in the very near future. 70% is a lot. 75% is even worse. Whew. Now, the layoffs at the Hollywood Reporter specifically come as no surprise if you've been looking at the broader challenges that are faced by the entire media industry. And I'll keep saying it, ad tech is on the way down. Many publications have had to tighten their belts due to the reduced advertising revenue and a very unstable economy, which, I mean, let's face it, you're in a recession, and the lingering impact of the decisions that were made around the pandemic, COVID-19. Once again, it's actually really important to point out that notable media outlets like the Los Angeles Times and Vice and Vox and BuzzFeed and Insider have all had to experience layoffs and closures. In the case of Vice, obviously, last week, we found out it's far worse, and it's going to be acquired in a way that will turn it into a pure, unfiltered propaganda outlet.
I thought it was already.
With very little redeemable value, to be fair. So, with the Hollywood Reporter, it's a long-standing reputation as, well, a wonderful high school newspaper. It's been around for a long period of time, and it hasn't faced these kinds of layoffs since the last time, which was in 2020. Of course, back then they were citing the pandemic and company-wide restructuring. The current round of layoffs, of course, only suggests that, things have not gotten better since 2020. In fact, they're getting a whole lot worse. And as the landscape of news consumption changes, especially when the entertainment side of things, you're seeing the digital platforms becoming increasingly more dominant, and less so of the legacy publications that, would send out things in print, like Hollywood Reporter and Variety and so on. Some of them actually, and we're mentioning Variety and Hollywood Reporter specifically, they've actually reduced the print editions, the number of units printed, and they've even had some parts of PMC actually cut out print altogether. It says a lot for the fact that current media requires you to innovate and adapt faster to stay relevant, even in an ever-changing and an increasingly partisan landscape, which is kind of a weird thing if you're thinking about the fact that these are trade papers. They're not supposed to be as politically oriented as they've been. And it's also important to note, as I've mentioned before, that PMC owns 3 of the top 4 trade mags for entertainment news. The only outlier being The Wrap, who actually broke this particular story about the layoffs in the first place. And it's also relevant to point out that PMC is still spending money left and right on things like the Golden Globes, because they acquired Dick Clark Productions. And they also own part of Vox as well. I think about 20% of Vox, which is a failing entity as well. They also own a bunch of other stuff, to be fair. It's odd that in a time of financial trouble that PMC is getting a piece of so many different failing media enterprises. I don't know why you would go about doing that on purpose. I mean, how's that actually going to help the company long term?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
I don't think it does. It doesn't say a lot of good things about the future of the company, to be fair. And at best, I guess we could say there's an uncertain future ahead. And you've got lots of things playing into that right now. For example, you've got multiple strikes in Hollywood that are definitely changing the game for everybody. All of it just leads to a very uncertain summer. In fact, I guarantee you we won't have resolutions on everything until the end of summer, or maybe even farther along into the fall. But regardless of the answer to any of those questions that I posed along the way, suffice it to say that we will likely see an increasing number of layoffs at PMC and the other digital media entertainment outlets. I don't anticipate that anybody is going to emerge unscathed. It seems rather inevitable. And speaking of inevitable, I just wanted to say thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And even if you don't, hit the like button. But if you enjoyed it, be sure to share it out as well. And if this is your first time here or your 100th, double check and make sure you're subscribed, because there's about 40% of the people watching these videos that aren't. And of course, I really appreciate your subscription, because we're getting closer and closer to 10K. And do let me know what you think in the comment section down below if you have something to add to the conversation, because I like to communicate with everybody when I can. So be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye.